What are some of the most popular, or what is the most popular course, if you know that?
Definitely nursing.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've got a diploma of nursing and a bachelor of nursing, and the bachelor of nursing is by far our most popular course.
And then again, thanks to a pandemic, they've sat down, thought about it, and then thought, actually, no, life's too short. I don't want to be doing this anymore. I'm going to change. I'm going to go and do something else. And I think that's really common for international people. Hi, so today I am lucky enough to be joined by the beautiful Maria. Maria is the Business Development Coordinator at Torrens University in Melbourne. Now, I have been lucky enough to cross paths professionally with Maria a few times over the years, which is great. So it's nice to have you here. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm very excited to have this chat and to hopefully provide some information, but it's always nice catching up with you too.
Amazing. Now, a little bit of history all about you, and something that obviously I've met you a few times, but something that I've just learned and I found so interesting is that you were born in Chile, came over here when you were 1 year old with your family, stayed here, did high school and everything here, and then at the age of 17 went back to Chile to go and do university and further education there. So definitely the opposite to what a lot of people do.
Yeah, I was an international student but reversed.
Yeah.
So yeah, my family decided to do that, and obviously I went along with it, and it was a really great learning experience. Also, like, it gave me a few benefits, like, you know, I can speak English fluently, but now I can speak Spanish fluently as well. And just being immersed in such a different culture was really eye-opening. It was very challenging, but it was really like character building as well.
Yeah, that must be amazing now that you can use that in your day-to-day job and actually be relatable to international students coming over.
It was never my plan to be, you know, a business development coordinator for LATAM, but it's been amazing. So it means that I can really communicate with students on a, you know, we can speak in English, but most of them prefer to speak in Spanish, and that's a little advantage that I never really thought would come into, you know, come handy. Yeah. And now it's what I do day to day.
Pays off. Yeah. Brilliant. So Torrens University is one of Australia's international universities, offering courses in the higher education sector, as well as high quality vocational courses for undergraduates and postgraduates. Famously built on the shoulders of giants.
I love that you said that.
Took it straight off a website. Did you know, I'm going to give you a little fact here.
Please.
That phrase, built on the shoulders of giants, is, I don't know if it still is, but it was when I was younger, written around the pound coin, the rim of the pound coin.
Was it?
Yes.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And Standing on the Shoulders of Giants is a album title by Oasis.
That's why it sounded familiar.
Yes. So that's a couple of my facts. Absolutely not Torrens University related, but there we go. Now, something I love about Torrens University, so you are a private institution, which is great, but you've got multiple campuses. So not only have you got Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane and Adelaide, but you've also got overseas campuses. So you've got Auckland and China.
We do.
Which I did not know about at all.
We do, and we also just opened one in Gold Coast. So yeah, so I think we're the university with maybe the most campuses around Australia, which is amazing because it gives our students a chance to really decide where they want to study. But yeah, we are global, and we do have overseas campuses as well.
That's fantastic. And I think having those multiple campus choices for students coming over, it's really good because not everyone wants to live in Melbourne when you have 4 seasons in one day.
I know. I'm very biased, and I think Melbourne's the best. But yeah,
me too.
Yeah, people maybe want to live next to the beach so that they've got the Gold Coast or have that beautiful weather in Brisbane. Sydney is a really popular destination still, and Adelaide is growing and developing so much. So each of the campuses has got a different kind of flavour and, popular for different reasons. Yeah. But we're really lucky to have such variety and the choice.
Yeah, that's really good. Is there one campus that is more popular than the others?
At the moment, I would say Adelaide has really grown.
Interesting.
Yes. Obviously, there are lots of, great visa outcomes and things like that are related to it. But it's also a lovely city, and it's growing in business as well. So it's got a lot of opportunity. So I would say that's become very, very popular.
Yeah.
I do. I am very biased about our Melbourne campus.
It is a very, very beautiful campus. I have been lucky to go there, had a campus tour, saw it all kind of in its glory with all the students there, and it is a fantastic, beautiful campus. So Torrens University focuses on a wide range of courses. You really do, and it's great. Some of my favourites personally are the event management course, and then there's also the engineering management course. Then there's obviously the business courses, sport management, and then you've got a whole kind of design range of courses with graphic design, interior design, web design, animation, everything. Yeah, there's definitely something for everybody here.
Absolutely.
What are some of the most popular, or what is the most popular course, if you know that?
Definitely nursing.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've got a diploma of nursing and a bachelor of nursing, and the bachelor of nursing is by far our most popular course. It's full. Like for example, for next year, we've got very, very limited places. But nursing's really grown. And I'd say that generally the health courses have grown a fair bit, particularly during these last couple of years. The demand is out there and there's so much work in health at the moment. So yeah, nursing by far.
Yeah. I think touching on that as well, I hate to bring it up, hate to talk about the pandemic, but we still have to. I think a lot of people obviously looked inwards to see what they'd be good at, what they'd enjoy. And I think when they saw the nurses, the frontline healthcare staff, what they were going through and stuff, and a lot of people then said, okay, I want to be a part of that. I can help. I can do that. So is there different job outcomes based on doing the diploma of nursing against the bachelor of nursing?
Yeah, so the diploma is only it's a year and a half, whereas the bachelor is a 3-year course. So the responsibilities that you would have as an enrolled nurse, which is what you are once you complete the full degree, versus what you would do if you're finishing a diploma, are very different. So if you want to be a registered nurse and have the full kind of responsibilities and the full title per se, you would do the bachelor degree. But the diploma is great because it does also lead as a pathway into the bachelor. If you do the diploma and then you're like, no, I want more, you can do that. Or if there aren't any places at the moment for the bachelors, you can start with a diploma and then move into the bachelor when there are some spots. So, it's got lots of different uses. And there are people who just want to do a diploma, and that's okay as well.
So if you study the diploma, do you have to start at year 1 of the bachelor?
That's right.
So then it would be 4 years of study effectively.
No, it's still, the bachelor is 3 years. So by finishing a year and a half of the diploma, you would go into the second year of the bachelor.
Oh, amazing.
Degree.
So
you still get credit. Yeah, you get credit to go into the bachelor, which is the case for most of our diplomas. I think it's fair to say that all of our diplomas will lead into a bachelor's. So it's really fantastic as a pathway. Again, for students I have so many students who come and they're like, no, I'm just going to stay for a year. And they do the diploma and they're like, no, I want to stay for it. And then continue on. So it's a really great opportunity for them to do that. It also is like a foundation year for us. So for anyone who doesn't have maybe the high school qualification, which is most of my students in Latin America, they only do 11 years of schooling. So the diploma is fantastic because it means that they can start with a diploma, then move into a bachelor's, and they still finish in the normal duration.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's really good.
It's a really great alternative.
Yeah. And touching on that with the pathways as well, I know you've got links to other institutions across the country as well, where if they study there, a diploma or an advanced diploma, then they can have the pathway with you straight in as well. So there's so many options.
Yeah, there are. And that's so useful. I mean, in terms of finances, but in terms of also just experiencing different institutions, it's a great opportunity for that as well. But one of the main advantages is by students doing a diploma or advanced diploma, they're achieving the English requirement for one of our courses. And also the partnerships that we have are usually with institutions that have similar ways of working that we do. So the students are already kind of in the mindset of what we do and how we do it. So it's a really smooth transition. So it's really a great opportunity.
Yeah, that's really, really good. Now, again, hate to do it, but we have to go back to COVID. So obviously we know that the international education industry as a whole was impacted by the pandemic. How did Torrens University fare throughout it?
I think we're probably one of the few, if not only, universities that actually grew during the pandemic. So we've always had online studies. So it's not something that we had to reinvent because of COVID. So our international students in normal circumstances have always had the chance to do one subject online. So that was something that was already developed, something that really works, something that has always had really great feedback. So when it got to the pandemic and all studies had to go online, the transition wasn't that big. For students, it was a bit of a change. And initially, I think it was a really difficult change for some students. But now it's been the reverse, where those students want to continue studying online. So it's worked really well in that sense. And I think Torrens University is a really innovative kind of university. It's very agile. And I think we really used a lot of resources, did so many different things that allowed us to keep growing during that time.
Yeah, which is amazing. It's completely unheard of. And I think it's definitely credit to the university as a whole. And like knowing what sort of courses that you teach, it's almost like you're now practicing what you preach.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
Exactly. I think that's the goal of any uni, is like to be able to do that. So we're really fortunate to be at a place that is not only strategic in name, but also in practice.
Yeah. Now, as I said, I have been to campus in Melbourne, so I know exactly what it's like. And something that surprised me and both impressed me as well is the facilities that you've got. So you talked about nursing there. I was impressed that I could walk through 2 double doors and I was immediately on a hospital ward.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. The students must love that.
Well, it's such a real life experience for them, and we're really big on employability. Like, that's one of our big focuses. So having something like that for students who obviously need the practice before they go out and do their real prac, it's been such a joy, because I think we renovated, it was pre-pandemic, but it would have been like in the last maybe 3 or 4 years. So it's been a massive change, and those facilities are just state of the art. All the equipment there is state of the art as well. So our students are really getting bang for their buck.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I love that there's that little room which is just like a private room on a ward, so they can go and do their practicals. And then there's the cameras in so the teachers can see it. So they're not actually there kind of in the room watching. So it allows students to develop their techniques and skills.
Exactly. I love that room too. So to give you all an idea, it's like, I think it looks like an interrogation room, because it's got basically one wall which is just mirrored, and that leads into another room where you can see students doing things, where you can see demonstrations, where students can do assessments. And it does really, it has so many different purposes, but it was built specifically for those students, knowing that they would have to do their assessments and we would have to have demonstrations for them. So yeah, that's one of my, that whole floor for the nursing area is probably my favourite of our university.
Really good. But as well, thinking about kind of the outcomes for students and getting them ready, the employability, etc. I love that downstairs in the basement as well, you've also got your hotel room.
Yeah.
Because obviously you've got like your hotel courses and everything. And just to give listeners a visualization, you basically walk into a reception area of a hotel. You've got a lobby area, and then you've got a hotel suite full with bed and bathroom and everything.
The most luxurious bath. Yeah, I know. I love that space too. It's really, and it is, I mean, you know, the course that we run in Melbourne is for a management, international hotel management. So students won't necessarily be, you know, cleaning or making up a room. That's not going to be their role. But they need to know what is required for that, because they'll be managing people who will be doing that. So it's those little things where I think in terms of the curriculum, in terms of all that kind of thing, it's been thought out so well, and with the outcome in mind.
Exactly. And if we look at the industries that we just touched on for nursing, healthcare, and then now for the hospitality industry, these are jobs that are in demand.
Absolutely.
and I think they're going to be in demand for a very long time. The hospitality industry as a whole, if you're in Australia, if you've been anywhere, you'll know that pretty much every venue is short-staffed at the moment. They are screaming out for workers. So I think the fact that Torrens has seen this trend and then ran with it and being able to deliver really, really good courses that have got those projected outcomes, it's going to be great for international students.
Absolutely. And I think, like you mentioned, they are areas that are really booming. And that there's going to be so much growth with. I know that, not to mention pandemic, but because of that, so many other things have, become apparent. And there are so many different areas that can be developed as a result. People are really, after people were able to actually travel, we saw the rise in flights, the rise in, anything everything, related to tourism.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of beginning, I think. It's so expensive to travel at the moment that it might take a while for it to pan out, but it's definitely an area that's going to grow more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Australia is amazing and has a great reputation with international students. On average, we bring in 600,000 international students a year. Why is it, do you think, Australia does education well?
I think there's so many things that we offer that is different to other places. I think one of the big things for me and one of the draw cards is the multicultural environment. And I say that because not only because it's great to experience things with people that you might not have experienced them with in other places, but it also really gives you a global perspective of things. So being in a classroom and being with people from all over the world will not only allow you to get information from your lecturer, from your teacher, but it's also going to allow you to get information from your classmates who have done things in different countries where things are done differently. So it allows you to get this kind of learning that you wouldn't get in any other place, I think.
Yeah.
I think Australia is probably one of the most, if not the most, multicultural places you can live in. And I think you feel that with everything that you do. Whether it's directly or indirectly. And all of that is really formative for the way that you will work, your education,
Absolutely,
and your learning. So I think that's probably a big winner.
Yeah, I fully agree with you on that one as well. And I think everything ties back into the job outcomes, the employability, the fact that you can go to a university, just like Torrens in Australia, you are surrounded by multiple nationalities and you can absorb all of that.
Exactly.
Now, you also take on domestic students as well, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we've got both international and domestic students. Some courses are more popular for some nationalities, but we try and have a really good mix. So because of that, we really want diversity within the classrooms. And it is for that kind of learning that you get through your classmates. We need a really dynamic kind of classroom. We really love that, where students can contribute and just share their experiences. So we have both, domestic and international students. And it really shows in what they kind of produce.
That must be great. The international students must love that, because they're coming over to Australia, and the fact that they're actually sat next to somebody from Australia is really good, because you don't get that in all schools. And if you do, sometimes it's not mixed and they're not blended together. So I think you do that really well, giving that opportunity for somebody who has come from South America and is now sat next to somebody from Sydney.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good.
Absolutely. That mix is really important. And not only with nationalities, but also with age. And you've got people who maybe have come straight out of high school going into a course, or people who, particularly after these last couple of years, have sort of had a career change and just want to do something different. So you've got a really great mix of people that lead to that, dynamic classroom environment that we want.
And I think that it's the old saying of every day is a school day, because there's always something that you can learn. And
Absolutely.
To be next to somebody who might be in their early 20s, and then you have somebody who might be in their late 30s, but you're all there for that common goal.
That's right.
Yeah, which I think is great. What is it, in your opinion, and you can be totally biased on this one, that Torrens University does really well?
I think we do so many things really well, but I think one of the main things for me is that we are a small university, and that allows us to know our students. So our class sizes are much smaller, which means that the students get a really personalised interaction with their lecturers and with their classmates. And it also means that they'll always have someone to go to if they've got an issue, if they've got a problem. So I think that's something that we do really, really well. One of the things that I value and think are most important about studying. I think employability is a great focus for us to have as well. We have teams like success coaches who are dedicated to helping students with things, as basic as helping with their CVs and LinkedIn, to being contacts for them for the networks and for the industries that they work in. So I think that has been done really well. The fact that all the theory is put into practice, I think that's a really great thing as well. So I think there's only one career now that has exams. Everything else is done in a practical assessment. Yeah. So whether that means assignments or projects or group work or presentations, it's stuff where you're not just memorizing information and regurgitating it. Like, it's stuff that you have to really think about when you go out there. How are you going to put these into practice? And that's, I think, what is leading to our students being so successful in employability.
That's really good. Now, I don't know if you know about this. I'm putting you on the spot here. I did see recently that there was a group from Torrens University of students being taken out for a walk. I think it was like somewhere amazing. Do you help students kind of build a little community, make friends? Is there any different networking events or something?
We do. We've got an SRC, so the Student Representative Committee, and they really just exist to hopefully make Torrens a more social place. So outside of just coming in to study, we want students to sort of hang around and get to know each other. It's really great, not only just as a personal development kind of thing, but career-wise as well, because these are potentially people that you could be working with in the future. So we really want everyone to get to know each other as much as possible. So we've got the SRC who organise a lot of events, activities. There's always sort of something going on. And that, I think, has become a bigger focus now that we are back on campus. And, we want the student life to come back as well. So they have been really, really busy.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And it's like just having that inclusive, having that community. Like we said, for international people coming over, and they would have left friends, family, community groups over there, and then come in here. It's great that they can come to somewhere where it is a smaller university. So everyone knows everyone. Yeah. They've got those campus choices wherever they want to be. And then there's the options to kind of build those relationships with other people, which I think is amazing.
Well, taking such a big step of traveling, around the world to come somewhere and not knowing, in many cases, not knowing anyone, it would be such a daunting thing. Yeah. So to have a campus that's really, hospitable, but I think I walk into our campus and it just feels like there's a very kind of relaxed, inviting, not homely, because it's too cool to be homely, but
it is too cool to be homely. So it's just like a futuristic home.
Yeah. It's just a comfortable kind of place to be. And I think that helps, with students feeling a bit more relaxed and comfortable, and we just want them to feel embraced and to feel part of a community from the get-go.
Yeah. Now, you've just had graduation for some of your students. What is that like? That must be amazing to see these people that have just gone through the last 3 years and are now picking their piece of paper up and they're there.
It is amazing because you see them from day one, and often from, day minus 30 or more. So you get to see them at the start, and then for them to be able to celebrate all their hard work, because it is, it's a lot of work to finish a university degree, but they put in the hard yards, and it's really satisfying. It's just a day that's full of, lots of smiles. Yeah,
celebration,
everyone's
emotion,
just so proud
everything.
of themselves. Yeah.
No, it's really good. So if you were going to go back into education, what would you study?
So I think I would go with what I wanted to study when I left school, and I wasn't allowed to by my parents because it was it was creative. There were no job outcomes, and that was just photography. I would love to have studied photography.
That's such a great career now as well.
I know.
So sorry.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I think photography, that's a really interesting one, because we're seeing, obviously, there's a lot of digital courses coming out as well, but to have those fundamental photography, photo imaging qualifications, have that as a skill, it gives you a job you can take literally all over the world.
Absolutely.
And companies now, they're looking to source their own content.
Yeah.
They're looking to create their own imagery to support their businesses when they're online.
Yeah.
So anyone going and doing that, yeah, I think that's great.
You can work in any industry. It's just like, yes. Well, not regrets, because I enjoy what I do, but it would have been a very different kind of
very
career
different
path, different life, I think. And it's great now for me to sort of see. I have students who come to me and say, "Oh, I wasn't allowed to do," and I'm like, "Oh my God, I get it." And they usually go into our design. We've got so many design courses, as you said, and so many who are like, "Yeah, I did this course, but I don't like it. But I always wanted to be, a fashion designer." It was like, "Yay, we've got it!"
Yeah.
And I completely relate. So it's so lovely to have those students where I'm sort of living vicariously.
Yeah, and it's actually really popular for people to have a career change as well, or to maybe have studied something when they were fresh out of high school, thinking that that's a path that they wanted to go down.
Exactly.
And then again, thanks to the pandemic, they've sat down, thought about it, and then thought, well, actually, no, life's too short. I don't want to be doing this anymore. I'm going to change. I'm going to go and do something else. And I think that's really common for international people, especially in kind of my age bracket of the mid to late 30s as well, where you were kind of force-fed and streamlined into a path, but then now you can change it and you can go and do it. And I think Torrens University, Australia as a whole as well, we welcome people coming in and changing and growing.
Absolutely. We just want them to grow. And, coming here, it's like a new beginning for many of them. And sort of, as you said, maybe a career change and actually going into something that they want to do. And in Australia, we're really fortunate because many of the careers that perhaps they wanted to do in their own home countries, they're not considered a profession, or they don't have the demand. Whereas here, there's so much opportunity. So yeah, it's really wonderful to see those cases.
No, it's good. It's good. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Maria. I really appreciated it. If you are thinking about coming over to Australia, or maybe you're already here and you are considering studying a higher education qualification at Torrens University, all you need to do is get in touch with us and we can talk you through the whole process. And if you're in Australia around one of the campuses, you can even go for a campus tour.